from the community of the Muslims, and they project on the media as though they're exemplary Muslims. We know there are black sheep in every community. What they do, and there are some Muslims who may not be following the Quran, who may not be following the guidance of the beloved Prophet, and may be doing things which are against humanity. So the media picks up these black sheep of the community and they project as though they are exemplary Muslims. We should not judge Islam based on what individual Muslims do or what the Muslim society does. Islam should be judged according to the authentic sources. That is the glorious Quran and the authentic hadith of the last and final messenger, Prophet Muhammad. For example, if there is a latest 600 SEL Mercedes in the market, and a person wants to test drive, wants to know how good the car is. Mercedes 600 SEL, latest in the market, 2010 model. And a person who does not know how to drive the car, he sits behind the steering wheel and he bangs up the car. I'm asking the question, who will you blame? Will you blame the car or the driver? But naturally the driver. If you want to know how good the car is, you look at the specification. What is the pickup? What is the average? What is the ratio? What are the safety measures? How many airbags does it have? Does it have anti-braking locking system? All these, and then you will judge based on the specifications how good the car is. If you really want to test drive the car, you put behind the steering wheel a driver who is an expert. Similarly, if you want to judge Islam, you have to judge Islam based on authentic sources. That is the glorious Quran and the Sahih Hadith of the Prophet Muhammad. And if you really want to test drive the car, as I mentioned, you have to put behind the car, put behind the steering wheel, an expert driver. The best exemplary Muslim is the last and final messenger, Prophet Muhammad. So if you want to know how good Islam is, you have to read the Seerah and understand the life of the last and final messenger, Prophet Muhammad. So one of the major strategies used by the media is to pick up black sheep of the Muslim community and portray as though they're exemplary Muslims. The second strategy used is they quote verses of the Quran or the hadith of the Prophet, they quote out of context. And that's how they present a complete different picture of Islam. And one of the most common verse quoted by the critics of Islam is a verse from the Quran from Surah Tawbah, chapter number 9, verse number 5. It says that wherever you find a kafir, you kill him. So these people project that the Quran says, wherever you find a kafir that's non-Muslim, the Quran prescribes that you should kill him. And when you open the Quran, Surah Tawbah, chapter number 9, verse number 5, and if you read, this verse does exist. The Quran does say that wherever you find a kafir, you kill him. But this verse is quoted out of context. To know the context, you have to start from verse number 1 of Surah Tawbah, chapter number 9. And here we come to know that there is a peace treaty between the Muslims as well as the Mushriks of Makkah. And this peace treaty was unilaterally broken by the Mushriks of Makkah. By the time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reaches verse number 5, He is giving them an ultimatum, a warning, that put things straight in 4 months' time, otherwise a declaration of war. And then the verse continues that in the battlefield, Allah is telling the Muslims that where you find an enemy, where you find a kafir, don't get scared, kill them, and wait for them in every stratagem of war. So this verse is revealed in the battlefield. But natural, for example, if there is a war going on between US and Vietnam, and in the battlefield, in the army general, to boost up the morale of the soldiers, He will but naturally say to his soldiers that when you find the enemy, you kill them. He will not say that run away. He will not say get scared. Suppose the president of USA, when a war is going on between US and Vietnam, says to the American soldiers that don't get scared, fight them, kill wherever you find the Vietnamese. It is in context. But today if I quote him out of context, I will make him sound like a witcher. But naturally to boost up the morale, this verse is revealed in the battlefield. That in the battlefield, when the enemies come to attack you, don't get scared, fight them and kill them. And many times, these critics they put a full stop where there's no full stop. Or they jump to verse number 7. And one of the famous critics of Islam in India, his name is Arun Shuri, he writes in his book of World of Fatwas. He quotes this verse, Surah Tawbah chapter 9 verse number 5, and from verse number 5 he jumps to verse number 7. Any intelligent person would realize that verse number 6 has the answer to his disease, has the answer to his problem. Verse number 6 says that if the kafir, if the mushrik, if the non-Muslim seek asylum, escort them to a place of security so that they may hear the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Quran does not say that if they want peace, let them go. The Quran says if the enemy, if the mushrik, if the kafir seek asylum, if they want peace, don't just let them go, escort them to a place of security so that they may hear the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today, the most generous army general, maximum may say that let the enemy go. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, escort them to a place of security. And you will read in the Quran, wherever you find in the Quran uses fighting as the last resort to maintain peace. And whenever it uses, wherever these words are used, always the next verse, invariably, we'll be talking about peace. And it says that peace is better than fighting. Invariably, anyway you pick up. But the media, they quote out of context and they present to the world as though Islam is a religion of violence. Islam is a religion of terrorism. The third strategy used by the media is they pick up certain verses or certain words of the Quran and they mistranslate it. And today, the most misunderstood word in Islam is the word jihad. Not only is it misunderstood by the non-Muslims, because of the media, it is even misunderstood by the Muslims. And today, most of the people think, whether Muslim or non-Muslim, that any war fought by any Muslim, for any reason, whether it be for power, whether it be for fame, whether it be for money, any war fought by any Muslim is called as jihad. Jihad does not mean any war fought by any Muslim for any reason, whether it be for power or for money or for fame. Jihad comes from the Arabic word jahada, which means to strive, which means to struggle. In the Islamic context, jihad means to strive and struggle against one's own evil inclination. Jihad in Islamic context means to strive and struggle to make the society better. Jihad means to fight against oppression. Jihad also means to fight in the battlefield for human rights. So jihad basically means to strive and struggle. For example, if a student is striving and struggling to pass the examination, in Arabic we say he is doing jihad. Anyone who strives and struggles, in Arabic we say jihad. And in Islamic context, if he's striving in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we say he's doing jihad fi sabilillah, striving in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And many people have a misconception that jihad and only be done by Muslims.